Hello, gentlemen, ladies, and gentlemen. Sometimes I get asked what my sex life is like or what my relationships are like, what type of dynamics I like to have. And for the most part, I'm fairly open to whatever presents itself with each woman. Some women I meet, maybe she just wants something really casual, or maybe I'm feeling casual vibes towards her. So we'll just be friends with benefits and we'll really enjoy that. Maybe with someone else, we will start dating and then something will build and it will start to feel more like a relationship or boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm very open to that. With some people, it feels more like a friendship, like platonic. I'm open to that as well. So you can see that I'm pretty open to different dynamics with different people. I'm not necessarily going into every single relationship or every single connection with someone trying to force a particular dynamic. And I say that to a lot of my coaching clients and a lot of you as well. Like a lot of you will say, I kind of want to have a little bit of casual sex experience. I want to get to meet different people, explore that side of myself. But then I also want to have a relationship. Oh God, which one do I pick? And I say, rather than pigeonholing yourself and trying to almost force a different dynamic, if you're not 100% sure what you want, why not just meet people and see what happens? You know, again, some people you meet, it'll feel quite casual. Other people you meet, it'll feel quite serious. Both of those are beautiful. So I myself try and be quite free flowing, and I just take each person as they come. I'm clearly fairly free flowing and open to different things, but my absolute favorite would be a daddy dom sort of relationship. Like I'm the daddy and she's like my baby girl, or I'm the daddy and she's the girl that I look after. It's sort of like a dom sub relationship, like I'm sort of in control, but not always. We'll talk about that in a second. But with a little bit more teaching, nurturing, mentorship, helping her grow into a better person, helping facilitate her goals and what she wants from life and all of that. So it's more gentle than the sort of stereotypical dom sub relationship, where the dom is just like, do what I say, woman. And he gets his whip out and he's like, do what I say. Ow. But yeah, I don't tend to be this sort of aggressive dom that you might have as the stereotype, like the 50 Shades of Grey. I'm much more of a nurturing, gentle, daddy dom type thing where it's like, I want to look after my partners. I want them to be happy. I want them to improve. I want to be there for them and all of that. Kind of like I am as a coach. I don't really whip guys into shape. And you won't hear me in most of my content ever yelling at you guys or being like, come on, stop being a pussy. I tend to be much more gentle. I tend to be much more supportive. I want you guys and girls to win. I want you to be happy. That's what my sexual dynamics are like as well. There's often a lot of kinky sex in there. I like to give homework as well. For instance, I might say to a girl, like Molly, who I'm dating right now, I might say something like, hey, I want you to be a good girl for me today and take a picture of your pussy, and I want you to send it to me at some point when I least expect it, or think about 5 dirty things that you want to do over the next couple of weeks with me, write them down and send them to me. Or, hey, I want you to go and find some naughty pictures on the internet and send them to me of other girls that we might potentially be into that we could have a threesome together. And I guess on that note, I like my sexual relationships and I guess my relationships in general to feel fun and free flowing and all of that sort of stuff rather than the traditional almost serious dom sub relationship. Even in the bedroom when I'm in the middle of sex, I am often laughing and smiling and talking, and my partners are as well. I don't take it so seriously. It's not so rigid and strict and aggressive dominance. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That just isn't my style. Maybe I'll talk through specifically what my sort of daddy dom relationships tend to be like, because again, this is my preference. This is what most of the relationships I have sort of look like. I'm the daddy. Girls even call me daddy. You can see I'm literally wearing a hat that says daddy on it. I don't wear this ever outside of YouTube videos because it's kind of funny. But most of my relationships, I like to have a daddy relationship. I'm the daddy, maybe she can be the baby girl or she can just be my girlfriend or whatever. But I like to be the daddy. And Molly, one of the women I'm seeing right now, that's literally the dynamic that we have. I am the daddy. She is the baby girl, although she likes me to call her baby. And a big part of that is me mentoring her. I have asked her, what are your goals? What are you working on? She's working on building up her own business, working on her confidence, working on liking her body more. And I help her be more capable and confident and all of that. So there's tons of praise. There's tons of like setting goals and then keeping each other accountable. And she keeps me accountable with my goals as well. I love those type of relationships. A lot of you guys probably want something similar. A lot of you women want something similar. It's like someone that will date you, you'll have crazy sex, you'll go on adventures, you'll meet each other's friends and all of that, and you'll keep each other accountable. And something that really helps with that is to do a weekly accountability check-in. Molly and I don't always stick to once a week, but if you can stick to once a week, that's even better. But just checking in, once a week, once a month or whatever, and saying, how's your life going? How are your goals going? How is the relationship going? Is there anything else we want to improve? And then on top of that, obviously, Molly and I have lots of crazy, kinky, beautiful sex as well. We both wanted this style of relationship, as in a man, maybe older, like I'm 8 years older than her, an older man or just a man that takes the lead a little bit, that maybe mentors and teaches and, takes the lead in the bedroom as well and all of that. We both wanted that from the start. In fact, she called me daddy before I ever even mentioned it. I'd talked little bits and pieces about it. Like I'd mentioned that I sometimes have the style of like a daddy dom. And she specifically was like, can I call you daddy? And she called me daddy. I'll show on the screen a little bit of an introduction of how like she and I first started the daddy relationship. So I had gotten her phone number from walking up to her on the street, telling her she was cute, and we had a conversation. I got her number. I obviously have permission to share all of this. I've asked her. This is like a recent conversation. I said to her, you called me daddy before I told you to, right? I think you'd seen daddy written on one of the girls from my photo shoots or something, because I've done a lot of like nude photos and BDSM photography and boudoir photography. And something that I sometimes get girls to do is like, I'll write daddy or daddy's girl or something like that on their boobs or their tummy, and then we'll do some photos. And so Molly goes on to say, yeah, you sent me some photos, but I wasn't 100% sure if you actually were serious about the daddy thing. And when I was in Sydney, like she took a little break and went to Sydney before our first date. Like I got her phone number and then she was leaving to go on a little vacation. When I was in Sydney and we were texting, you told me more about your style of BDSM, and that's when you told me that you identify with Daddy Dom. And she said, and that's when I threw my phone across the room and I rolled over in my bed and I screamed into my pillow. And I said, was that a good scream? Yes. I was like, oh my God, yes. It felt like the universe was punking me, like the too good to be true feeling. I said, I'm really glad we met. You're an amazing partner. She said, I'm glad we met too, Daddy. I think about it definitely at least once a day. I said, well, I think about it at least 1.5 times a day. A little bit of competition. And then she did some cute emojis. So yeah, that's basically how we started the daddy dynamic. With other women, I will literally just say to them like, hey, I want you to call me daddy. A lot of women directly say it to me first. And I've noticed that the older that I get, if I'm dating younger women, like, if I date a 20-year-old woman and I'm currently like 38, I'll be 39 soon. If I'm dating a 20-something-year-old woman, a lot of them now by default will just call me daddy without me ever saying anything, hinting at it. Like that just gets said way more. Whereas when I was in my 20s, like when I was 28, when I first started working on my dating life and my sex life, girls weren't calling me daddy by default. If I invited them to or said, I want you to call me daddy, then lots of them would, but they were not just saying it by default. But now that I'm 10 years older than that, again, I'm 38, almost 39. Now a lot of girls will just like literally volunteer that. Maybe another little story for you guys. Like one day Molly and I were having this conversation, right? And I had asked her if she wanted to do something in the bedroom, like a particular thing in the bedroom. She said yes to it. And then on the day, it turned out that she wanted to do something a little bit different. She wasn't in the mood for that thing that she'd previously said, like, yeah, let's do it. So I gently reminded her, like, hey, you're allowed to do what you want. Like, we don't always have to do what I want. Like, that isn't the style of dominance that I like. A lot of people have that kind of mindset with dominance. They think like the man or the person who's the dom, usually the man gets to just say whatever the hell he wants and she just has to put up with it and go along with it. And if she's not into it, then like, I don't know, bad luck. You have to just be a good girl and do it. And so I had gently reminded her, we don't have to do stuff you don't want to do. In fact, my mindset, and I say this to every woman, is it's only fun if we're both having fun. Or I also like to say, a yes only counts if no is also an option. And so I reminded her of all of that. I'm not just here to dominate you. I want you to have fun. Dominance isn't fun for me if you're not enjoying it. And she said, I think sometimes I forget that I'm allowed to ask for what I want. Sometimes I get a bit confused with the dom sub context, and I assume that if you tell me something, I have to just do it. And we went on to have this really long conversation, and here is what I said to her. I said, look, I'm not your dom at all, not even remotely. I don't think we have a dom sub relationship, at least not in the traditional or the stereotypical sense. I think we have more of a daddy baby girl relationship. That's also known as a DDLG relationship, which stands for daddy dom, little girl. Like, she's going to be a little girl that you take care of and look after and all of that. And I said, that is so unbelievably different from a dom sub, traditional relationship. They're not really the same thing. A dom sub relationship can often be what you said, where the dom just says what he wants. The man will just say, do this, or get in this position, or you're going to do this. And as long as it's not like a, huge boundary or limit for that person, for the sub, she kind of just does whatever the dom says. Like, that is how a lot of people see a dom sub relationship, or they see BDSM, the dominant person just says whatever the hell they want, and the submissive person just shuts the fuck up and does it, right? No complaining, or if you complain, you're going to get, the whip, little spank, and you're going to do what you're told. I go on to say to her, a daddy baby girl, DDLG relationship is more like a mentorship relationship. It's more like a caregiving relationship. Maybe the daddy will suggest things for his girl, for the baby, for Molly, and he will ask her what she would like to do. And he will give her time and space to figure herself out, to figure out if she wants to do it, to figure out if she doesn't, make sure she actually wants to do this particular sex act or have sex on this day or whatever. And the daddy's role is almost to make her feel or help her feel more independent and capable. And a lot of you guys can relate to that. A lot of you guys over the years, people I've coached and people I've talked to have said, holy shit, man, like that sounds like my dream relationship. Like I'm the man, probably I'm the older man, but even if we're the same age, I'm going to take the lead. I'm going to guide her, but I don't want to just like steamroll over the top of her. I don't want to just like tell her what to do and not give a shit about what she wants. I want to make sure she's having fun. I want to know that she actually wants to do the things that I'm saying. Otherwise, I'll just feel guilty if I find out like, months later that she's just been putting up with a bunch of stuff that she didn't really want. Like, I'll just feel like I wish I hadn't done that. So a lot of you guys want this type of relationship. And maybe you wouldn't call it like a daddy dom. Like maybe you wouldn't call yourself daddy. You don't want the girls to call you daddy. But it's like that style of relationship, of like a mentor relationship. I will take the lead, but I'll do that in a very like caregiving masculine way. Like one of the guys in my coaching program right now has had a couple of girls tell him that they feel really safe around him. And he's like, holy shit, that stuff just makes my heart beat really fast. That makes me melt. Like, I love hearing that I help women feel safe. And a lot of you guys want the exact same thing. You're like, I want these chicks to feel so safe around me. I want them to feel like they can completely let go, that they can tell me anything, that they'll be looked after, because then they'll open up. They'll be more honest and vulnerable with me. They'll tell me what's going on. I won't have to guess and try and mind read what's in their head. And the sex we have will be infinitely better too, because they'll open up to me because they can trust me. And so they'll tell me their kinky things. They'll know that I won't judge them. We'll do filthy, nasty, crazy sex together because I know she actually wants to do it. And it's not just me like making her do it, or like her not feeling like she can speak up and say, hey, can we slow down, or can we do something else? So I'll go on to keep reading. A daddy will help his girl feel more independent and capable. See how much of a difference that is from like a lot of stereotypical dom-sub relationships? Like in a lot of dominance, the dom kind of almost wants the submissive to just rely on him, if you get what I mean. Like she's supposed to not be as independent, and maybe he wants her to be independent outside the bedroom. But in the bedroom, a lot of people that are dominant want their partner to just kind of like shut the fuck up and do what she's told, like less independent, more just like a slave. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That just doesn't appeal to me. That isn't like my style. I used to dabble in that. Like I used to do a lot of that years ago. And at some point I was just like, I don't know, maybe this sounds like a harsh way of saying it, but I was like, I don't know that this sex is good for them. I don't know that this is helping them be more independent, more capable, more well-rounded, more happy in themselves. And so I sort of switched more to like a caregiving role. And there's still tons of crazy kinky sex. Like I tie women up, I put collars and leashes on them. I do stuff that you guys would not even be able to imagine. I've done so many kinky things. I have done many kinky things with Molly, but like it's always done in a caregiving way, making sure that she's having fun, making sure that she wants to be there, making sure that it's adding to her life. Because my mindset has always been, I want to leave people better than I found them. I want everyone to come to me and then go away feeling a little bit better off after every session, after every day, week, month, and year. If a relationship ends, I want them to feel like that added to their life rather than that took away. So I went on to say to Molly, in a daddy/baby relationship, daddy DDLG relationship, the daddy only ever invites his girl to do something. He's giving her an invitation, not a demand. Again, you can see how that's different from a lot of like the traditional or stereotypical like dom-sub relationships. It's more like you're inviting the person to do something rather than saying you have to do this or I demand that you do this. The point of a daddy-girl relationship is the daddy wants her to speak up and ask for what she wants. He wants her to say no to him. You see how that is so radically different from a lot of the ideas that a lot of you have about what a dom-sub relationship has to be. A daddy wants his girl to say no to him. He wants her to be more and more independent and strong over time, and one day even become more like peers, like the two of them are on the same level as each other. That is absolutely my goal with Molly. That was absolutely my goal with my ex, Imi, and I think we pretty much achieved that. Like when Imi first came to me, it was absolutely like, I was 12 years older than her. I was only, I think, the second person that she had sex with. I was the first relationship she'd ever been in. Like, of course, there was a huge, like, power difference there, power dynamic. Like, I had way more power than she did, right? But my goal was to get us more on the same level. And we achieved that after, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 years. Like, it took a little while. But she eventually became way more confident. She was able to speak up. She was able to say no to me, like all of that. She was able to say how she felt. And so that is absolutely my goal. Molly is getting closer and closer to that every day. And I think we'll probably be there, I don't know, probably not that far from now. Like we're probably already there already, to be honest. So yeah, I like my partners to be more like a peer. And we will still do the like daddy thing, like they'll still call me daddy. I will still take the lead and all of that. But I think you guys know what I mean about being more on the same level. I go on to say a daddy is often trying to build her up and lift her up to his level. Yes, they'll still do the daddy baby girl thing, like I just said, but he wants her to be as close to his level as she possibly can be. I really like explaining things to you. On that note, daddies often love to explain or mentor, and a lot of you like that shit too. Like you really love the idea of dating a woman that, might be a little bit younger than you, or maybe you're the same age, but you teach her stuff and she will just look at you with like big open eyes, like just listening every word, like hanging on the edge of her seat, listening to everything you say. Maybe you guys are laying in bed together and you're just gently stroking her hair and you're telling her about the world. You're telling her about your job. You're telling her about some subject that you're really passionate about, and she's just listening and she's asking questions and she's really interested. Like a lot of you love that dynamic, and a lot of you women listening really love that dynamic too. Like you love the idea of a more mature man, or just a more worldly man, or a man who kind of knows what he's doing a little bit, teaching you and helping you rise up to his level. Like that is such a beautiful dynamic. And daddies often make sure that their baby girls feel listened to and nurtured and heard. Yeah, that is something that I do all the time. I will literally just sit with her and say, hey, how are you feeling? Especially if she's feeling a little bit angry or a little bit upset, or she's going through some shit, or maybe she's, like that time of the month or something and she's feeling a little bit extra emotional. I will literally just sit there with her and say, hey, like, tell me what's going on. Hey, let's make a cup of tea. We'll sit down and drink a cup of tea and I'll caress your hair, or you can lay in my arms and I'll give you a big cuddle. We'll put on some soft music and you just tell me what's going on. Like if you're having doubts or insecurities, tell me about them and we'll come up with some solutions. Like it's very much almost like kind of like a coaching role. Like it's honestly not that different from what I do with a lot of you and my clients. And so then Molly went on to say to that, when you listen to me, you make me feel like I matter. And on a similar note to that, there's a lot of acceptance. I think there's a lot more acceptance. I'm generalizing, but I think there's a lot more acceptance in a like daddy relationship, like a daddy baby girl relationship, rather than like the traditional dom sub relationship. Like a lot of dom sub relationships, particularly if the submissive person is like a slave, a lot of that is the dom trying to change the slave to be the way that he wants her to be. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the type of relationships that I like to have are a lot more about accepting her as she is, and maybe she has some goals she's going to work on, and maybe she's changing and all of that. Like, fine, people change. This is a self-improvement channel, but there still is a huge amount of acceptance of where the person is right now. You know, like I very much accept the girls that I date exactly as they are, and if they want to change, beautiful, we can work on that. But that doesn't mean that you're broken or unlovable or not good enough right now. You are beautiful as you are right now. And yeah, exactly on that note, you can see here on the screen a couple of messages from Molly. Again, I have her permission to share all of this. She says, I'm really grateful that you accept me, Daddy. Thank you. Thank you for loving me. So acceptance is a really big part of these type of relationships as well. And on that note, something that I've talked about quite a lot on this channel recently, I think I've done like 4 or 5 videos in the last couple of months, is safety. You know, like a woman feeling really safe. I mentioned before that one of my coaching clients has had a couple of women now tell him that they make him or he makes them feel really, really, really safe, and they love that. And then they can open up and be kinky. And so safety and being sort of like patient and nurturing and caring and telling, you know, your submissive girl, you know, it's okay to be upset. It's okay how you are. Like you're doing a good job, like lots of praise and all of that. Like safety is something that so many women are craving, even outside of kink, even outside of BDSM, outside of all the stuff we're talking about here, just in normal, like regular vanilla sex. So many women are craving a bit of safety. Like when you first walk up to them and hit on them on the street, a lot of women don't feel safe. They're like, what the hell is going on? Like this guy is hitting on me. Am I safe? I don't know him. What's going on? Like she's trying to catch up because you're a stranger and you just walked up to her. And so a lot of like being gentle and smiling. And I teach lots of my coaching clients to speak a little more slowly and have some pauses and just be a little bit more like, I don't know, comforting or warm. That stuff goes such a long way, especially if we're going to talk about having really kinky, passionate, wild sex. A lot of women really, really, really need a little bit of safety or a little bit of like comfort just to know that you're safe enough to be around. Like you're not going to pressure her. You're not going to push her. You're not going to judge her. You're not going to think she's a slut if she does too much kinky stuff with you. That goes such a long way to having this really crazy, passionate sex, you know, the type of sex that a lot of you say that you want. And Molly has said this to me a lot of times, and I really love this quote from her. She said, and like, it's weird, but when I feel really safe with you, it makes me want to do even sexier and naughty things with you, Daddy. And so exactly what I'm saying there, like as you show a woman or show someone that you're not going to judge them, that you're not going to think less of them if they tell you kinky things, that you're not going to judge them if they have a day where they're feeling sad or upset or any of that, that you accept them as they are. And again, they might be changing and improving and all of that. But right now, you're accepting them as they are in this moment. My God, does that make women wet in ways that a lot of you cannot even imagine. You guys have no idea. I've even done videos about this where I've had some of my female friends on the channel. Like if you search for Olivia, my friend Olivia came on the channel and literally talked about how she was on a date with this guy. And they went back to his place and they were going to have sex. But something inside her was just like, I don't know if I feel comfortable. This guy seems really nice. I like him a lot, but like, I don't know if I want to have sex right now. And he could sense that she was a little bit hesitant. And so he said, hey, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to have sex? Do you want me to drive you home? Like, what would you like? And she paused and she thought about it for a good while. And she said, I think I'd like to go home. And he was like, beautiful, I'll drive you home. And so he drove her home, you know, kissed her goodbye. And she said, as soon as she walked in the door, she laid in her bed. And that was the first time that any man had ever let her say no or not pressured her, like asked her what she wanted. That was the first time that no had ever been an option for her in her entire life. And she laid in bed and she said, I got wet. And I'm not just talking a little bit wet. I'm talking like fucking soaking wet because he made me feel safe. I felt safe enough that my body could let go. A lot of female sexuality requires letting go, requires a safety to be able to let go, requires some trust. And trust is really just you not pressuring her, which is why I encourage you guys, rather than just like grabbing her and trying to kiss her or grabbing her and escalating, you say, you're pretty, can I kiss you? You're so fucking hot. Do you want to make out? God damn it, you're really pretty and I'm having such a good time. Do you want to go back to my place and fool around a little bit and no pressure? Like, if you don't want to, we don't have to. Like, do you want to? You have no idea how many girls will think about it and be like, okay, like, I feel safe with you. Okay. And maybe you go back to your place and she's nervous and she's hesitant. You can literally just say, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to stop? Do you want to keep going? And she'll pause for a couple of seconds. And because you've given her time to think about what she actually wants, she'll breathe and she'll realize she's safe because you're not pressuring her. There's no defensiveness needed because you're not trying to push her. She doesn't need to put up her walls. You're safe. Like, you're chill. You're going to be okay if she doesn't fuck you. Yes, you want to have sex with her, but you're not going to die if she says no. So you're safe. You're sitting there in that abundance, like outcome independent mindset. And then when she feels nice and safe, a lot of the time, I'm just almost going to say most of the time, she can breathe for a bit and she'll go, yeah, maybe we can have sex. Or maybe we can just fool around and then can I see how I feel? You go a little further and then you stop and you say, do you want to keep going? Like, what do you want? And she'll breathe again. She'll stop and she'll go, yeah, I kind of do. And then you guys will have the craziest, kinkiest, wildest sex because you let her feel safe enough to let go. An example of this, and this is again from Molly, who says, thank you for going slow with me. To be honest, you going slow with me is a really big turn on for me. Like, huge turn on. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Do you guys get what I'm starting to say, or what I've been saying for a while now? She goes on to say, knowing that someone has time for me, oh my gosh. Yeah, a lot of the time, guys, we can just get in such a fucking rush. Like, we're so desperate to get laid. Oh my God, I need the pussy. I need it. I need it. I will die without it. And we end up being like overbearing, pushy, needy, like a scarcity mindset. And I have said this a million times, and most of you guys know this. That is a turn off to women. If you are so unbelievably desperate to get inside that wet, beautiful hole, inside her moist little cavern, inside her little fucking clam chowder taco, fish taco, if you're that desperate to get in there, a lot of the time she doesn't feel safe. She's like, holy crap, he's so desperate. I don't know if he'll actually stop if I need to pause. I don't know if he'll listen to me if I'm not ready to go all the way. I can't trust that he's even thinking about me because you're not. In that situation, all you're thinking about is your dick and whether or not it went inside a wet hole. And most of you aren't like that, but sometimes we can get like that, can't we? It's like we get so desperate for a goal that we lose track of the fact that there's another person in front of us. We're just seeing them literally as an object, like a tool for our own success. Like, I need her to give me the thing I want so I can say that I lost my virginity or that I had sex or that I got laid this week. Like, a lot of you are so focused on getting laid, and there's not anything inherently wrong with that. But sometimes we get so focused on the getting laid part that we forget about the human that's in front of us. And so again, I'm going to read this out again because I think it's really, 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 really important or useful. Molly said, thank you for going slow with me. To be honest, you going slow with me is a really big turn on for me. Like, huge turn on. Knowing someone has time for me, oh my gosh. So going slow, and you don't have to slow down. It's more like, I wouldn't even necessarily say going slow. It's more like checking that the other person is having fun. Like, even just little bits and pieces. Like I say, you just insert one sentence. Like, instead of just grabbing her and trying to kiss her on the date, you just say, you're so fucking pretty. Can I make out with you? Oh my God, you are so sexy. I really want to kiss you. And then see how she reacts. And then, if she kind of has a positive reaction, pull her towards you and kiss. Like, you don't have to do a whole lot. It's just basic shit. Hey, I'm having so much fun. You're really fucking sexy. You have no idea the things I want to do to you. Do you want to go back to my apartment and we can fool around? And if she's like, what will we do when we get there? You can say, we can fool around, we can make out, we can have sex if we feel like it. What do you feel like? I want to have sex with you, to be honest, because you're fucking hot. But what do you want? We can just discuss it like adults. We don't have to try and like force it. I don't have to try and just like make a move and then you defend and then I got to try and push again and then you pull back, and like it's this fucking like boxing match where we're fighting each other. We can just use our words and I can say, you are unbelievably hot. My God, do I want you? Do you want that? And we'll either get a yes or a no or a maybe. And if it's a maybe, you can just talk about it and figure it out together. Here's another quote. Again, from Molly, who says, thank you for putting in some time to understand me. It means a lot to me. And what she's really referring to there is me just asking her questions like, hey, how do you feel about sex? What sex do you want to do next time? How can we improve it? Do you like the way I treat you? Do you want me to be more gentle? Do you want me to be more rough? I say this to a lot of you guys and to my coaching clients as well. Being good at sex and being like a daddy dom or just a dom or just being a man who has sex, being a person who has sex, a lot of being good at that is by asking questions and not making assumptions. So many of you, so many people in the world think that being good at sex means you have to just know what you're doing. But how the hell can I know what I'm doing if I'm with a new partner? How the hell can I know what's in her head? How can I know how she likes to be treated? How can I know if she wants it super rough or super gentle? Sometimes she will want it rough and other times she will want it gentle. Like, people change depending on their mood. You guys change depending on your mood. If you have the world's best day at work, you're excited. If your boss yells at you and rides your ass and screams at you, you probably don't feel like going home and having crazy, passionate, wild, beautiful sex. You probably just want a woman to give you a big cuddle and tell you that it's okay that your boss was mean to you. And so we want different things at different times. If we go into the bedroom or if we go into a relationship trying to just assume and trying to mind read the other person, we will get it wrong 99% of the time. Even me, after literally years of experience, like I have been having lots of sex for like 10 years. I've probably had sex with like 300 or so women. Like I've stopped counting. I have had so many threesomes. I have had relationships. Some of them have lasted for like, 7.5 or 8 years. Like I've had a lot of relationships. I've had a lot of experience. I've had a lot of sex. I've been a dominant guy for most of that. I still, with each new partner, do not know what she wants. I might have some idea, but I don't know unless I ask. What things are you into? How do you like to have sex? What is your sexual experience and history like? Have you had good experiences or bad experiences? Tell me about both of them. What kind of things do you fantasize about? What do you imagine me doing to you? What are some of your deal breakers or your boundaries or your red flags or things that you're not into? What are some things you love? What are some things you've always wanted to try, but you've been way too scared to ever tell any man ever because you're scared that they will judge you? You can tell me, I promise I won't judge you. Like, if I don't ask these questions, and then when we get into the bedroom, how does that feel? Do you want it harder? Do you want it slower? Are you feeling good? Do you want to pause? Do you want to keep going? If I don't ask these questions, I'm just going to do a mediocre job of sex, because how can I possibly know how she's feeling or what she's enjoying or what she isn't enjoying? And so again, really good sex is not just about doing whatever the hell you want and like hoping that it works out. Really good sex is about this, exactly what is on the screen. Like Molly said, thank you for putting in some time to understand me. It means a lot to me. And that time of understanding doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I said, it's just the basic questions. What sex stuff have you always wanted to try? Does this feel good? When you go down on her, lick her for 30 seconds and say, how's that feeling? And she'll go, oh my God, that's amazing. Or you could even say, tell me what you want. Tell me how to make you feel good. Or you can literally lay in the bed next to her. I love doing this. I do this all the time. Lay in the bed next to her and you kind of have your arm around her and you're just stroking her hair. You're both naked. Take her hand and put it down between her legs and say, I want you to play with yourself. And a lot of girls get very like shy or nervous about that. And you say, it's okay. I just want to see you play with yourself. Show me how you play with yourself when you're alone. Then maybe she needs a vibrator, tell her to bring her vibrator next time, but just get her to play with herself and she'll show you what she likes. And you can even go down there if she's not too shy, go down there and watch and then say, okay, let me have a turn. And then you try and do the same thing that she was doing. You say, how does that feel? Like, teach me to blow your fucking mind. Like so many of you, maybe most of you men, want to be unbelievably good at sex. Like you literally want to be a sex god, but you're then just hoping you could wing it and figure it out. Like, what the fuck? Why don't you just ask the person who's literally there in front of you, tell me how to blow your mind. Tell me the craziest, kinkiest fantasies you've ever had. Tell me what would just send you to heaven. And you can then share that stuff with her too. You can say, here's how I like a blowjob. Here's how I want you to rub my cock. Because a lot of you guys know a lot of women are not very good at giving a hand job because no guy's ever taught them. And so they just grab the dick and they just start doing it. And you're like, ow, fuck, stop. Ow, whoa, what the fuck? Like, you're being aggressive. Like, that hurt. Shit. You can't just like yank on the fucking thing like that. That's painful. And so you can teach her to be better at sex as well. And you guys together can almost have like this little like collaboration of like, let's become sex gods. And I guess she would be a sex goddess, sex god and sex goddess. And that is a lot of what I like to do in the bedroom. I like to teach women, teach people how to be really good at sex. And then I want them to teach me how to be really good at sex with them. And so it's a learning experience. And that is a big part of it for me. So there you go. That is hopefully a little bit of information, a little bit helpful of like the type of sex and relationships and dynamics I tend to enjoy. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm very open to different types, but I prefer sort of like the daddy dom, like mentorship type relationship, preferably with a younger woman. Doesn't have to be massively younger. Like Molly's 8 years younger than me. She's 31. I'm 38. I'll be 39 soon. So there's a bit of an age gap there, but not like a massive age gap compared to like, the 20-year-old women that I often or usually date, but a little bit of an age gap. I like to mentor them. I like to help them. I basically like to give them coaching. Molly has even said to me sometimes, I feel guilty that like I'm getting free coaching from you. And I'm like, don't feel guilty. Like we're in a beautiful relationship. Like you give me so much. Are you kidding me? Like there's a very equal relationship. Don't stress. But like, yeah, I like to coach people. So hopefully that helped. If you guys have any questions about like anything I've just said, if you want to know more about like the actual sex acts that I do, if you want to know more about the relationship side of things, if you guys or girls are trying to figure out the type of relationships that you might want and you're kind of like not sure, like maybe some of what I've said here appeals to you, but some of it doesn't. Maybe you want something entirely different. You're very welcome to leave a comment down below and ask questions or share or talk it out or whatever, and I will do my best to help. If you want more like one-on-one access to me, I have 2 coaching programs so we can get direct access to me and my coaching team. I'll leave a link down below to both of those. I will say the big hardcore VIP coaching program right now is 50% off. So now would be the perfect time to join up for that. There's a link down below. We got payment plans, all of that sort of stuff. So money doesn't have to be a complete and utter barrier. And then we have the more affordable coaching program called the Abundance Collective. But yeah, guys, feel free to leave comments or ask questions or anything down below. I am an open book. Like I will happily talk about any of this. As always, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I guess hopefully no boys and girls are listening to this, but ladies and gentlemen, go out there, crush those goals, and have a really fantastically, beautifully, wonderful time doing it. I guess actually literally doing it, pun intended. I was making a sex joke.